NASA's wet dress rehearsal tanking test of this Space Launch System rocket was set for the first weekend in February. However, because of a rare cold snap here in the Sunshine State, teams reevaluated, looked deeper at their systems against the weather criteria, and decided it was best to wait at least a couple more days for this tanking test, now targeting that simulated T0 on February 2nd.
The wet dress rehearsal will be a full run-through of the 49-hour countdown that will be used in the lead-up to flight. Teams will load more than 730,000 gallons of liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen onto the SLS rocket to ensure all systems are working as expected. The astronauts of the Artemis 2 mission won't physically be in the loop for the pre-launch demonstration. They're still in quarantine at the Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas, going over final launch preparations. NASA leaders said that a launch date for Artemis 2 won't be determined until after the wet dress rehearsal is done and they're able to review the data. Because the WDR slipped a couple of days, so too did the earliest possible launch date. NASA is now looking at no earlier than February 8th to launch the first crewed test flight of the Artemis program. When it launches,
it goes in 90 seconds.
NASA astronauts Reid Wiseman, Victor Glover, and Christina Koch, along with Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen, will fly a 10-day free return trajectory around the moon and back. Meanwhile, NASA is also examining the timing for the SpaceX Crew 12 mission to launch to the International Space Station. During a briefing on Friday, NASA's Commercial Crew Program Manager Steve Stitch outlined the juggling act between Crew 12 and Artemis 2.
If they launch or in an orbit, then we would defer all the way to the 19th, right? We would then stand down, let them have their operations. If they get into a countdown and they attempt on the 8th and then have an issue where they stand down, then we could go a few days later as early as the 13th.
Stitch says they need to deconflict some common use resources for human spaceflight missions. Those include assets from the Department of Defense like Det-3. Those are the women and men responsible for responding in the unlikely event of an abort at the pad or during ascent. They're also looking at the situation concerning the suit-up rooms.
Right now, we tend to use the dual suit-up room in the ONC where the crew stays, and then we have an option to go use a SpaceX suit-up room if we need to. At Pad 39A, SpaceX has been gracious enough to let us use that, which they've used for many of their flights.
It's not just terrestrial assets that need to be deconflicted, but those in space as well.
Yes, Artemis does utilize the TDRS communication assets for not only on pad operations, but also with Orion, but also early part of their mission, they fly a high Earth orbit, and so they use TDRS for that, and so that would have to be deconflicted. Also, if we were in free flight, and which we're not intending to do, if we had simultaneous operations between Dragon in-flight and Artemis, we would have to deconflict even the Deep Space Network comm to make sure the two beams, the TDRS beam and the Deep Space Network beam, didn't overlap. So that was one of the considerations as well.
With the wet dress rehearsal scheduled to wrap up on February 2nd, NASA's current no earlier than launch date for Artemis 2 is now February 8th. Further delays would push that into the future. And if it slips into March or later and Crew 12 launches first, we asked Crew 12 Commander Jessica Meir about the possibility of remotely seeing her friends in space.
I would be really excited to be able to talk to Christina, as you mentioned, and also my classmate, Victor Glover, and kind of my astronaut uncles, Reid Wiseman and Jeremy Hansen. So hopefully we'll have the opportunity to do that connection.
Reporting from the Kennedy Space Center, Will Robinson Smith for Spaceflight Now.